one, and action, and let's go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. How's Jono and Roman doing?
Very well, mate. Very well.
Crazy well.
Crazy well. I like that.
Let's go.
I like that. I'm not crazy well. I've still got a sore throat, but I'm well enough to be here right now. How are you, mate?
Oh, good. Doing good. Thanks.
My Euro trade actually hit target, by the way.
Oh my God.
You know, we were talking a bit about some Euro longs last week. That did well. I was very happy with those. So maybe I'll show everybody a little bit about that in a bit.
You know, Jonathan, I actually had a guess that today you are glowing so much. I was expecting that you had a good trade.
It's not because I've had a haircut or anything like that, or you know, looking a bit better, a bit sharper.
Oh, that's my chart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's okay. Again, my chart.
No, it's not. Oh no, it fit back. Whoa, hang on. Whoa, what's going on?
It's Roman.
It's chart wars.
Okay.
So yeah, man. What are we talking about today? What are we going through today?
About the trade first, then.
Trade first. Okay. I didn't know if you wanted to tell us about your DJ experience first, or should we leave that for later?
I mean, you're hitting the point, so I should finish it now, Joe. So Saturday, he did it again, and then I got to know that he's a friend of my neighbor. He was trying to explain the situation. I said, I don't care. I don't care if it's your friend. I'll still find a complaint if he does that again. So yeah.
So you couldn't convince your neighbor that, you know, he could.
No. He convinced me that don't do any shit. I was like, no. If he does that again, and I'm going all in, and if I catch something spicy, I'll convert it into content and I'll record it. Let's have fun.
Oh my gosh! Just Ayush out there beating dudes down, just like just for content, you know. I like that. Anything for the content?
Yeah. I mean, we need clips.
You need to put the live stream camera pointed out the window. Roman can be waiting in the background just to wait for you to like click it up.
Oh God.
Well, some nice weekend for you then, at least.
Yeah.
Right. Let me break this down then, because we were on about this last week. And to be fair, we're on about gold last week, obviously a lot. We talk about gold a lot, and we're going to talk about gold a lot today. And I know you were kind of looking to short around here as well. And on Thursday, right?
I got wrecked.
You get wrecked?
Yeah.
I thought you had a good trade on Thursday, no?
No. Okay, on Thursday, yes. On Friday, I had a loss. I was selling and Roman was buying, and eventually Roman won.
Ah, fair.
Yeah.
Well done, Roman. But to be honest, I still like gold longs. The pricing over the Wednesday, Thursday was really weird, right? Because we had US yields dropping. We had bad data out of the US in terms of that inflation data last week. Yet the US dollar was holding strength, and I didn't understand that. I didn't think that was going to play out. So I ended up executing a long position on euro dollar down here. So basically entered on the breakout of that 50 moving average, stop loss below the low, and looked to try and target the 116 handle. Now I came out a lot earlier than that, so this was Friday. So I came out early Friday because I didn't want to hold the trade over the weekend, to be honest, because holding over the weekend in this environment that we have at the moment, it's probably not the best thing to do because we don't know what Trump's going to do next. Yeah. And he could just ruin a great trade. So I I ended up coming out a little bit early, unfortunately, or for however you look at it. We opened on Sunday. We did gap slightly, and then market rallied all the way to my first take profit would have been here. Took a little bit off the table there. Would have looked to action some out here as well, but yeah, unfortunately, didn't hold on to it. But I didn't want to hold through the weekend either. So that was a really nice trade. I ended up as well looking for a gold long position. I didn't take anything in the end just because the reward to risk didn't seem that good for me. So, looking at potentially buying this sort of breakout candle here on Friday. But again, I was looking at it like,
so
it's a Friday. I ain't going to try that move. I'm going to wait.
But that's where I was selling it.
Okay, what, right here?
Yeah, the same candle, yeah.
Oh, okay. Unlucky, mate. It happens. It happens.
Yeah. I'll explain why that happened. It's for people.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll pass the mantle to you. Explain how you explain the loss.
Yeah. So we explain losses here as well. So okay, can we Roman, can we switch to my screen, please? Thank you so much. Oh, look at the ASMR.
Sorry.
So on Friday, the bad thing I did is silly mistake. Forgot to do the top-down analysis. I think the stupidest mistake I did was never went on higher time frame and check what's going on there, and tried to short a candle which was heavily bullish. So I think this was the candle 6 a.m. 4-hour candle. I was trying to take a shot in this, and got really, I think, paid the price. I should have taken a look at the point of control on the 4-hour, which was at this price level, and price hit it, went back, and now continuing higher. I think this is the opening of the weekly. There is a low volume area, but also we'll follow the normal price action, rejection here, 1, 2, okay, something like that I have drawn on the lower time frame. Let's see if it's there for you guys, and it is not there. Means I removed it. Okay, it is there. So this is the area where we have a lot of taps. So assuming even though we are in the range, the next key support area for me is near 4,426, or maybe in this cap. Not bearish, I'm bullish. I'm trying to take a long on gold, but not yet for intraday. And I was selling, and I sold in this candle, assuming here we had the higher time frame resistance, but I forgot that in order to take sell, what was required is break below this very important point of point of interest, and then retest and sell it. So there are two mistakes I made. First, not looking at higher time frame key levels. Second, not waiting for proper trend reversal on lower time frame, or maybe bearish trade confirmation. That's why I had a loss. I gave away I think my 2-day profit in this trade. So that's what people do on Friday. You should
give it all back.
Yeah. So it's Monday, new week, so I'm gonna make sure that I don't repeat that thing again. So what we're gonna do again, gonna go on the 4-hour. Okay, so price rejected from this low volume area, and also we have really good support. Even though price rejecting this zone, I still feel that we still have enough room to analyze on lower time frame, like what trend we are going to follow. On the 1-hour, this entire range is going to act as an area of decision for shorts or long. I'm primarily bullish, so even if price is coming lower, might see continuation higher in the NY session. But in order to do that, we have to maintain the price action above the point of control. If we go below, they use it as resistance, then we might go lower on gold. So right now we are in the range near the point of control. Candle is coming lower, getting rejection, you can see right now. And on 15-minute, same. thing happening, rejecting the value area high, which makes sense. But in order to continue higher, what we need is staying above the point of control and using this value area high as support. And at this point, I'll be happy to see a lot of sellers coming in but getting squeezed out, and we'll target these highs on gold. So that's my plan. Let me know in the chat if you're looking at same setup. Are you looking for buys or sells? I think Roman already put the poll today, so you can click there. And also let's set the like target for today's session. It will be, let's say, 50 likes. I think it's easy. 50 likes for the giveaway. And yeah, if we break above this range or maybe below, if any kind of setup forms, I'll take it.
I like it. I like that. The break into retest makes a lot of sense, I think. Especially with how price is behaving today. Very sort of range bound at the moment. So I like the idea of a break and retest, head towards that 44.50 handle, or even, like you said, push back down to sort of this low kind of volume pocket down through here.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense too. So we'll have to wait and see. I think, this area here is nice, and the fundamentals still back a good upside for gold prices, in my opinion. So to me, I want to be looking for that continuation. I was looking at the just some of the tools that I use on a week-to-week basis. I was looking at how the dollar was kind of performing against the G7 currencies, and I can see that we are sort of very bearish US dollars at the moment, one of the most negative currencies right now, losing weekly strength from week to week. So that's a good catalyst for gold. I had a look at the commitment of trader reports as well, just to see where sort of large speculators were kind of positioned and what they were looking to do. And in last week's report, we can see that they actually added 23,923 contracts long in gold. So they're starting to kind of shift from being very bearish to being mildly bullish now. So we're starting to see that change as well from large speculators in the market. Silver, incredibly, has a very aggressive short position at the moment, which I like the idea of that reversing. So there's a good chance that we might see a little bit of a flow into silver as well. So those silver traders out there might be looking for an opportunity. So maybe there's something there. I've not looked at silver in a little bit since the big rally last year. I've not really kept on top of it. But let me see if I can just open this. It probably doesn't want to open now because I want to look at it, So it just wants to misbehave. But let me see. I'll have to reload the chart. But yeah, we'll take a look at that. If it reloads, I'll have a look at it in a bit. But yeah, I like the idea of seeing a continuation of that. When I was looking at sort of a lot of geopolitical news coming out today, so we've still got that bit of back and forth. Donald Trump has been tweeting throughout the day, basically saying that he still doesn't want Iran to have any access to nuclear warheads. Has also said that he's in no hurry with Iran and is threatening to bomb Oman if it gets in the US's way. So more threats of bombing coming out at the minute, which is why we're probably seeing a little bit of more positivity in the US dollar early trade. But it's whether that follows through, because then there has been talk about a 60-day ceasefire as well. So, or an extension to it. So very, very mixed messaging at the minute. And when there's a mixed messaging, the market kind of deviates back to kind of that choppy price action that we've been seeing. But I look at Brent, crude oil, just to kind of have a little look at what's going on in terms of that pricing of the US-Iran war. So we're starting to see a little bit of downside. I'll be more comfortable if this starts to break lower, head back towards $80. I'll be very comfortable looking for continued dollar sells, because I think that will eventually feed into the bond yields, and we'll probably start seeing some further declines there. Naturally, then that'll flow into the currencies. So I like the idea if we do see a continual breakdown here of the market trying to price in those potential rate hikes coming off the table at some point, which is what we've been talking about for a little bit. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Dollar, if we look at the dollar index, trading back down to that 99.50 handle now. You know, I like the idea of seeing this potentially break through, head lower towards $98. We might get price action that stays range bound. Who knows at this point? But you know, it's Monday. It's early trade. There's not a lot going on this week in terms of dollar data. We've got FOMC meeting minutes. That's about it, to be honest.
So there is a guy in the chat with a really good question. Sami Muhammad asking, guys, what are you launching on the 19th? Is it Tradeify FX or MTFi for crypto? Interesting. I think we'll know that on 19th then.
Honestly, I don't know.
Honestly, I know. Still not gonna say anything.
I'm keeping. You know, if I don't know anything, I can't actually lie to anybody. So, you know, it's the way I like to frame things sometimes. You can do it. You can lie. Do you lie all the time, dude?
Yeah, every time.
Wow. Now I feel like I can't trust Ayush, guys. What's going on?
And I don't know if you guys will understand the lighting. Okay, the lights I have in my room have some meaning to it. So that will be revealed after 19. Then, like, I'll turn off the main light and you'll see.
Oh.
One side is red, one side is blue. The pill effect. You know what you want to choose?
Yeah. I feel like I'm in Star Wars as well, isn't it? That's some epic lighting, that is. And there's me with just a standard.
It has a meaning, which will be revealed after 19, so I'm not going to open my mouth. So your answer to your question is stick around and find out.
There you go. Stick around, find out.
Yeah. And I think the idea on gold is pretty much very clear. We already have 2 levels marked. The only thing we have to wait for is a breakout with good volume. Or maybe the next 4-hour candle can give us something. But Asia session was really good because I analyzed during the weekend that this is a support level. If we tap in, price might go higher, and then it went really good. Straight up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles at the value at a high. Good trade. I mean, whoever took it in the chat.
How did Friday's Discord session pan out? Did you get any good questions this week?
No.
No.
No, it was not. No. We were only talking about markets. I actually forgot what I did on Friday, to be honest. I know what I did.
Just doing your thing.
Maybe
man.
Anna can help you. She was there. So yeah, let's talk about. Okay, so we are not going to stay only on one chart. Let's talk about. Let me try to do something on my favorite pair. Oh, EUR does look good. That's why Jono is happy.
EUR is good. 116 at the minute.
116?
Yeah, I don't know whether we're going to see much more upside from here for now. Let me have a look.
Jonathan go through bond. Yeah, I think he went already, but he would love to. He loved that. He's a bond guy.
That's all I talk about is bonds. People are sick of me now, man. Yeah, I'll talk about bonds for a little bit if you want. I mean, to bore everyone to death, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, I want to see if price gets accepted in this kind of area for now. You know, I think if we trade above 116, then maybe there's a good chance we go higher, back up to the sort of point of control. Maybe even the highs of this sort of overall range, 116.75 perhaps. I think at the moment, this looks like a good area of resistance. You can see obviously a strong resistance before, a little bit of support over here on the daily chart. So strong resistance up at 116, which is what I wanted to target in the first place, all right? So, I need price to prove that it can go higher here. I need price to either get accepted in that area, close as a strong daily candle bullish or whatever. But it is Monday, so, it could be a bit of a false break. But alternatively, if it can come back down, retest some lows, still fail to kind of break lower and then head back up, that would also be ideal as well. I just like this dollar weakness play a lot. We talked about the data last week, but let me just go through and for those that are new maybe, or those that weren't here last week, we looked at the sort of key data points for the US and had a little look at what is like really driving that US dollar right now. And obviously the big story is those inflation rates. They started to come in lower. We had an on-farm payrolls recently, which was pretty poor as well. And GDP growth isn't great. And then last week we had that PPI data and CPI data, which again was not as good as expected. So a lot of traders are now trying to price in the idea that we're not going to see rate hikes from the Federal Reserve anymore, which again continues to change. So in this September meeting, at some point they were pricing potentially 50 basis points hike. That's completely gone away to it's now nearly 70% chance of no change in September now, which is incredible, really. If we take a look out to October, there's still only, it's 50-50 on whether we're going to get a hike at all. There's actually, only a 38% chance of a 20 basis point hike and a 6% chance of a 50. I don't think we're getting that. If the data continues to be poor for the US, they're not going to hike into that, right? Fed Chair Walsh has already said that the market's kind of doing its job for them right now, which kind of tells you everything you need to know. We're starting to see yields come off, and again, I talk if you're interested in FX gold as well, obviously, then go and understand the bond market, because bonds really drive currency appreciation, depreciation, and it's all down to interest rate expectations. So that's why I talk about this stuff a lot, and why interest rates impact markets, because it has a real impact of how markets kind of shape up. Essentially what a lot of large speculators, hedge funds are trying to do, they're trying to get the yield, right? So they're looking for those markets that have higher interest rates versus those that don't. That's a really simple way to look at it. Obviously the US has a higher interest rate, and when there was talks of, so when Fed Chair Walsh came in, that was this area here. Let me just grab my tool again. That was this area here, right? And the reason was because he was pretty hawkish. He was pretty hawkish on the idea that there could be potential hikes in the future as a way to bring down inflation, because he was very aggressive with how he was talking about inflation. And we had this nice sort of, bullish move on the US dollar for a period of time. But now that has completely changed, because the inflation story's changed. So inflation is coming in lower. That is what Fed Chair Walsh wanted to see. So how can he hike interest rates into inflation rates that are going lower? They can't. So the market is already pricing in the idea that they're not going to hike interest rates because the dollar's moving lower. Now, if you look at a country that is hiking interest rates or is planning to hike interest rates, like Australia, look at Aussie US dollar pricing. That market's moving aggressively to the upside. Canada, big fan of buying CAD at the moment. That's continuing to go to the downside. I've not caught any of that move, which sucks, but kind of holds a similar premise. The only one that's not really playing ball at the moment is dollar yen, because dollar yen's just weird and it doesn't act how it should ever act. So but that's largely again down to interest rate differentials and the fact that Japan still have a very low interest rate. So it's usually still that currency to go to sell to get that yield differential, right? So so yeah, in terms of I don't know where I was going with that, but ultimately the dollar's a lot weaker. And I feel the only thing that hasn't moved, and we can talk a little bit about bonds, right, is the US 10-year yield hasn't moved that much, which is the next kind of yield market I want to see move, because this is still fairly bullish. So it's almost like the market on the front end, which is the 2-year yields, is happy to kind of price in that there's not necessarily going to be any rate hikes. The 10-year hasn't really changed too much, and that's continuing to move higher. So is the 30-year bonds. So that is putting a bit of a dampener on my, aggressive dollar sales right now. I'm very cautiously dollar bearish, but if we see the 10-year really start to roll over, then I'm going to be very bearish US dollars, I think. Usually when we get a US 10-year up at sort of 4.75%, 4.8%, you can see quite a large sort of rally in the stock markets, because it usually formulates at a low in the stock market as well. So looking at sort of the S&P 500 has continued to be bullish. NASDAQ, we spoke about last week. We were talking about looking for a breakout to the upside because of this narrative. We've had that breakout. Not managed to catch any trades here yet. I don't know if Ayush has managed to catch anything on NAS, but this looks like it could, again, be heading a little bit higher as well. So there's a lot going on. I think, if you look at what's really driving it, it's that obviously that we have poor US data, that's fine. But we still have the risk that the US and Iran war can sort of, kick off at any moment. So that's why I think we're still seeing those yields hold a little bit higher at the minute. It's because it's waiting to see if there is escalation. So if you think about it, what has Trump said today? There's no deal on the table right now, and he's threatening to bomb. Look at the US 10-year yields starting to rise. So we need to see that be removed, basically. Will we ever get that? Who knows? So we have to be very cautiously bearish US dollars, I think, for me. Very cautiously.
That was a really nice breakdown with fundamentals and technicals about the US dollar. I love it. So now I'm going to follow his fundamental analysis. I'm going to fill both my wells. You like this? So, yeah. Look at him. He's interested now. Okay, so gold actually had a really good move right now. I don't know what happened, but it does not really matter. Yes. I think it's 9:30. Yeah, okay.
An hour early, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, as you can see that this candle have really good volume. A lot of sellers in this candle, but still haven't. I think there is no conclusion here for us to do something unless we break above the range. The sell-off was really clean, but I think going down lower does not make any sense because there's no volume there on gold yet.
Yeah, I think this is just reacting to what's going on at the moment, isn't it? Those yields are rising. Drive gold lower at the minute.
Yeah.
But I do like it. I mean, I like gold a lot in terms of longs, but it's like how we discussed before. It's kind of like, where does it make sense to be long? And there's been a lot of retail buying gold at the minute. So whether we get a bit of a shakeout first and then see the move, perhaps that's the way it'll go. But yeah, looking to see, I wouldn't mind seeing gold lower. I wouldn't mind seeing it back towards the kind of breakout highs, or even back towards like, this kind of area here, especially from a swing trading point of view. That'd be more beneficial to the way I trade. So I'm being selfish in what I want in terms of that ideal. Whether it gets back there, that's again, we're gonna have to see how the market starts pricing and what's going on. It's Monday, so I like to wait for like a full sort of US session to get really kicked in before really aggressively trading. But a breakdown here, likely going to see a little bit more downside in the near term.
What do you think about I think NQ? I think it's gonna go the all-time high this week, I guess. I'm assuming that.
Well, I mean, we got our predictions pretty wrong, didn't we?
For gold?
Yeah, I think we said Anna said it'll be up at 4,500 by the end of last week. I said 44.75. You said 44.50. So technically, you won.
I won.
So in our leaderboard that I said we'd have, you've got 10 points. I've got 5 points. Anna's got 0. It was the furthest
so
Friday.
The drawdown on the competition is static or end of the day? The main question is that. Is it static? End of the week, okay.
Well, we've got to put in new predictions. Every week we get new predictions. And then I'm keeping I've got a chart here on my desk. All right. Mm-hmm. So week 1, Ayush 10 points. Jono 5. And a 0.
When we'll have finals?
I think end of September.
Okay, that's so long.
That is long. It's a season.
Yeah.
Season 1 this is. And then the chat can come up with some kind of forfeit.
I think we should include Roman as well. He's trading gold these days.
Yeah, we can include Roman. We can have anybody. Do you know there's actually a website called eurodollar.com, and you can put in your predictions of where you think Eurodollar can finish by the end of the week.
It's like a poly market?
A little bit, yeah. So it's like your own prediction market, yeah.
Okay.
Such a lovely sound.
I love that. So nice. So nice. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
All right. How's your weekend been?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I was ended up helping some family out, so I was doing a lot of building work over the weekend, which is nice and relaxing.
Did you say building work?
Yeah. So,
and how is that nice and relaxing? Are you talking about like renovating?
Yeah.
Oh wow, you say it's nice and relaxing, but when I hear that, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm getting like I'm just staring out in the nothingness, getting flashbacks. I would probably never mind. That sounds very nice. Sounds good. Cool. Happy you had a nice relaxing weekend building stuff. What are you building?
So they're converting their garage into an office. So
nice.
I was building the floor out. So getting the floor nice and level, because all the garages in the UK, the floors are like slanted. That was because you get oil on the floor, it like travels to the front door or whatever. So yeah, we're leveling off the floor at the moment. So nice to get
That's
away
awesome.
from markets, right?
Yeah, it is. It is nice to get away from the market sometimes. But I feel like even if I'm traveling, I'm still kind of, I mean, honestly, for me, relaxing day and a weekend is just kind of like reading Bloomberg anyway. So I try to get away from the market, but it's always going to be there.
Oh, 1,000%.
Always going to be there.
Did you get up to anything nice?
Yeah, I went to in Sweden, like our biggest is it amusement park. I think that's what it's called, with all the stuff you ride. Oh my god, dude! Like I went there, and then kids, they're 9 and 15, and obviously the 15-year-old he wanted to ride everything. So and then he didn't want to do it alone, so I kind of had to ride everything with him. And I got this issue with I very easily get I guess it's not seasick because we're not at sea, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's kinda like,
right.
Yeah. So I get dizzy, and I threw up. That's what I do. So he wanted to ride everything, and then my fiance is like, "Well, you can't say no." I'm like, "Yes, I can. I say no if I want to say no. I say no."
I'm a grown man.
And she's like, "No, you don't say no." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't say no." So I have to say yes to everything. And all these fucking spinning things, being upside down and everything. Like I was just feeling shit, and they had some amazing rides. It was very, very fun. I did throw up a couple of times. So it's kind of like I had fun, but then I didn't have a lot of fun, and then I had fun, and then oh man. So I'm exhausted. And then after that, on the second day, we went to. It's not a zoo. It's inside. There's like a fish and stuff.
Aquarium.
Yeah, that's right. And monkeys.
What?
Fish and monkeys and birds.
That is a very unusual combination.
Yeah. And I thought about, and maybe we have some shark experts in the chat. I don't know, but let's see. So huge tank, big sharks, and a lot of fish. And I'm thinking, what do sharks eat?
Humans.
No, they eat fish, right?
Yeah, but they eat quite large fish, don't they?
They eat large. Okay, so that's why. Because I was thinking, why are they not eating the fish? Because they look very tasty, and sharks was just swimming around, and not eating the fish. I was thinking to myself, why are they not eating the fish?
It's a good question. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Maybe they're also very well fed.
You think they're grass fed?
No, they're just very well fed. So like, they don't need to eat the fish because they're already full.
Right. Yeah. Probably. I mean, they do feed them, obviously. Maybe that's why. Yeah. Let me see. I'm gonna go in and see if we can find the chat here. See if we have any shark experts in the comment section. If you are an expert at sharks, let yourself be known in the chat, because I do have a couple of questions. Have you seen? Yeah, thank you, Glenn. It's called motion sickness. Yeah. Have you guys seen shark eggs? It's very cool.
No.
Well, they're very cool. Shark eggs are really cool. What else did I see? Monkeys as well. Very, very cool animals. I like monkeys.
So is the monkeys and aquarium in the same building?
Yeah, so the monkeys are actually swimming around with the sharks.
Nah,
they're not.
Nah. There's no chance. You think he was going to get me with that one? I was like, nah.
Yeah.
No way. There's no chance.
No. No, it's fun. Good times. Good times. So now I'm just exhausted. I haven't looked at the market much. Yeah, nice to be able to jump on here and go through the markets. I heard also that you kind of threatened your DJ friend as well, Ayush. That's
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that the relationship is moving forward and you're developing that. You're developing that.
It's definitely
networking with your neighbors.
No,
That's
I never
great.
wanted to. I want to destroy every network I have here.
Yeah. I actually have I talked about I got filled on EG. Check this out. Now that's a fill. That is a nice little wick right there. So I'm not sure what the hell happened with EG, but I wanted to ask you as well, Kibbler, or something.
It's about monkeys and sharks, is it?
Have you looked at GJ lately?
You know I hate it. No, I've not looked at GJ lately. What do people call it?
I like GJ. GJ's a good pair.
It's a volatile pair. I like the pair, just not the name.
Yeah. Now I remember last week you were kind of shitting on people saying GJ, and I've been saying that for years. So yeah. So I felt personally attacked on that.
I'm now on your Jonathan shit list now. It's just like fucking.
Oh, okay. You scared me,
Okay.
Roman.
Yeah, you were a bit loud as well, Roman. So I got a good feel here on the 1 hour. Now, obviously, we have a actually first time checking this since I believe maybe Thursday. So we do have a break and retest here. If we can move it over here, I'd feel happy about that one. So that's the open position I have right now. I got stopped out on, I believe it was CAD JPY, CAD yen. Yeah, this one stopped me out.
You can call it CJ if you want. It's fine.
CJ, okay, CJ. This one's the yen pairs are tricky. I think there's just too much going on. When I got stopped out on this one, I kind of felt like the thing is, you do have a lot of sometimes when a trade gets stopped out, either it's going to be like, oh, I don't care, let's move on, or you start thinking, what if, and should I have done that differently? And I think sometimes when you start thinking in those terms, it's time to listen, because a good trade, a trade you take that's according to your system and everything, if it hits stop loss, you don't really care, right? You just move on to the next one. It doesn't really, you're not really emotionally attached to a trade that follows the system, because then you're following the system. But then if you do have that, and I think this is important for everyone in watching as well. This is something I've learned in my trading, is that when you do have those emotions connected to a stop loss being hit, it tells you something, right? It tells you something, because maybe you were risking too much. You lost a little bit more than what you planned on losing. That never really happens to me, because I have a fixed risk, so I'm never going to lose more on one trade than another, unless I go on tilt or whatever, which doesn't really happen very often, but it does happen sometimes. So if I follow my system, I'm never gonna lose too much on a trade. So if I feel, and I did feel something when the stop loss got hit here. So that was on Friday. So I got stopped out on this on Friday, and I got the notification on my phone, like a stop loss order got hit, and I kind of like, shit, that was not what I was expecting, right? But then again, like, why am I even expecting anything out of this trade? It's just either it gets stopped out or it moves in my favor. It doesn't really matter. And I think it has to do with all of the macro factors around the yen pairs. There's just so much going on, and maybe, well, what my first impression was, I shouldn't have taken the trade because of the conditions, you know?
So what led you to take the trade?
So what led me to take the trade was, I think it's two reasons. First, so I liked how, so there were first of all a lot of talk. I'm not even a fundamental trader, so it doesn't really make sense to be trading on that. But it kind of like did add to the idea. There's been so much talk about, you know, yen pairs and the currency intervention by the Ministry of Finance in Japan, and, you know, Scott Bessent coming out talking about how the US was working closely with the Japanese counterpart to you know, try to solve the situation. And I felt like there was way more talk about this than it has been for quite some time. And I kind of thought, you know what, I wouldn't be surprised to see another surprise intervention, or just something going on at a larger scale to push price down. But that's also what we had on the, you know, end of July. So maybe that was, you know, maybe they're not going to make that change as quickly. You know, they're probably going to divide it up with some time between it. But still, you add that, and then the idea that we were hitting a resistance zone. So I marked out this range, and then I saw, okay, well, I kind of like how it's hitting that resistance. We saw that daily candle, kind of like an indecision candle, telling me that maybe because I entered the trade like here, so I was thinking, okay, we might break this level and come down and kind of test this pocket right here, without really going, you know, all the way down here or breaking down completely, but just having one reaction of that level. Because usually what I see in the markets is when you have such a big move, and you know, we moved from up here all the way down here with very strong momentum. A lot of times you'll see that you're going to have that mean reverting move back up. But if you have that mean reverting move and then it stalls at resistance, it's telling me that the forces that created this move might still be in play. And then if you break out and start trading like that, it's you know, probably going to retrace the whole move. So from a technical perspective, I kind of like it, but then there was just a lot of uncertainty around the yen pairs, and I feel like maybe it would have just been better to stay on the sideline.
You say that, but I'm also short a yen pair, but I'm short dollar yen right now. I'm just interested on your thoughts. Why CAD yen over dollar yen? So I am short. I'm offside because it's just
okay. So.
Yeah,
so I actually went through the yen pairs, and the reason why I didn't go short on dollar yen was the fact that I viewed this as I still kind of like this as an uptrend, even though we broke below the trend line. The trend line is really just here for visuals. I don't really trade based on the trend lines, and it's not really telling me much at all.
Yeah.
But looking at this, I still see an uptrend, but with a lot of uncertainty. You know, it's just, I don't like shorting this. I could short USD JPY up here if we have like a solid rejection up here, and then maybe, you know, kind of breaks down. But here, I feel like this is good support. I'm looking at this, and if I didn't know anything else, I would buy this, you know. Because I like it as an option. Now, of course, if we zoom out, we look at the weekly, it gets a little bit more interesting for a short. But the thing with USD JPY, I feel like I'm looking for a move, you know, down to 150 or 140. 150 being the first area, 140 being the second area, but that might happen in late 2027. Like I'm not sure when. So I have a lot of time, and if I see something like this, then that's the entry for me, and that's where I'm gonna exit this one. Now, if you look at the difference between USD JPY and CAD Yen, it's in a range, and this is why I'm looking. Like, I would rather short a yen pair that's in a range than a yen pair that looks to be more an uptrend. And the whole characteristics of CAD Yen, also we have the idea that we're at an area where we historically have found great resistance, and the chart in of itself, I feel, is not as trending as USD JPY. So yeah, just trading price here. So there's nothing about the Canadian dollar that I think is necessarily going to be weaker, even though Canadian dollar and US dollar very much moving together. I mean, what's good for America is a lot of times good for Canada and vice versa, right? Not sure if that's holding up now with all the tariffs and how whatever is going on between Canada and the US. But just from a price perspective, this seems like a range. USD JPY seems like a trend. NCD JPY is also one of those ranging yen pairs where I feel like this is also an opportunity where I think potentially a good short. We're in a range that's it's been ranging since the end of January this year. We're hitting the range highs. If Japanese yen is going to be stronger, then I would rather sell resistance, right?
Absolutely. I was just curious if I just add a bit of fundamental to that trade. I think the Canadian dollar's actually been getting stronger recently. So one of the things I like to look at is just kind of normal currency strength and weakness and stuff. Canada's actually been one of the top performing currencies over the past few weeks. When I look at the indicators as well, they've got a bit of a problem when it comes to inflation. So their inflation rates are climbing at the moment, and so is their kind of unemployment rates as well. They did come in a little bit lower, but it's still quite high at 6.4%. Canada's got a real problem where inflation is rising. They're so dependent on what happens as well with the sort of oil market as well, and with that fluctuation, it's not been very helpful to their situation. But inflation is rising. We just had actually some data today for Canada as well, which is also supporting rising inflation as well. Unemployment rate relatively high. So in that sense, one thing they can do to bring down the unemployment rate is to raise interest rates and also bring down inflation rates, right? So the one thing they can do is use that. Now, their growth is crap, and it has been crap for a long period of time, which is why we saw an initial CAD weakness for a long period. But the Bank of Canada are now kind of shifting narratives, and they're almost saying, inflation's too high. It's above the 2 to 3% range, or around the 2 to 3% range. It's not as low as they want it to be, and unemployment rates not very good at the moment. So they need to try and balance this situation, and it's a very difficult balance to have. But the one thing they don't want to see get out of control is that inflation. So what we're seeing is a Bank of Canada that is more willing to tackle inflation, and I think that's why we've seen some decent strength in the currency at the moment. It's why, I like the idea of trading yen long. I'm actually a fan of that, but it's and I'm doing it against the US dollar. I think for me, when I looked at the sort of board, I was like, well, dollar is a currency I expect to get weaker. CAD's just been a little bit stronger at the moment. I think it's because of that that inflation data. When I look at the trimmed CPI coming out today, came in at 1.9%, which was the same and above previous forecasts. CPI came in hotter as well. So they've got a situation where inflation is rising, and at the moment, I just think CAD could be a little bit more beneficial because of the back of that. If oil prices continue to rise too, then that's usually strengthens the Canadian dollar a little bit. When I look at the currency futures on the Commitment of Trader reports as well, the large speculators had a very aggressive short. And when I look at this information here, I basically like to look at what the large speculators have been doing and what that typically can lead to if it does reverse. So usually if they're aggressively short, some of those can unwind. So a few examples of when that's happened in the past is obviously current situation sort of now. We've got aggressive net shorts going on. We had a previously one back in November 2025 as well, where price rose. We had quite a long period of time back end of 2024 going into early 2025 where we had a similar situation. Price did drop, but then had a very aggressive reversal after that. And back in May of 2024, we had a very similar situation as well, where we saw a few weeks of kind of reversal. So yeah, for me, I like CAD long for now. So yeah, I was just interested to hear your thoughts on why CAD yen.
This is interesting because what you're going through here, especially the what you talked about with inflation rate being the inflation rate with the Canadian dollar and you talked about them potentially raising rates, right?
Yeah.
That's just simply looking at the interest rate differential between looking at the Canadian dollar, and then maybe here we have a chart of USD CAD, and it represents that quite nicely. The fact that the US is on hold, and even though there are talks about raising rates, it seems to be the chance of a rate hike is much lower now than what it was a couple of months ago. And then looking at, of course, at the Canadian dollar, if the chance of them raising rates is higher than the Fed raising rates, and obviously you're going to get that expectations of a interest rate differential, and therefore one currency is going to be stronger than the other. And I think that's one of the core thing that a forex trader should know. And that's easy, that's easy research. Even today, you can go into Claude and you can just ask Claude about look at the the chances of interest rate between USD and CAD, and it's going to give you some good numbers on that. So that's still something that I'm trying to put into my system to make sure that I check. And to be fair, I should have checked that before entering the trade, because then I would have seen that,
Yeah, I don't think it should necessarily deter you from maybe taking that position in the first place. Obviously, you've gone for your judgment. You wanted to take that trade. It's just, yeah, I think interestingly, the situation with inflation was so when did you get stopped out of that today? Or last week?
No, it's Friday.
Friday.
Well, what I'm saying is it's if you have a system and you're looking at only technicals, but I think we're in a world, a trading regime and a landscape in the forex market where you kind of need to have an idea of the fundamentals, because we can look at, for example, I think it was AUD NCD. Yeah, so this trade right here, this was a technical trade that I took last in December of 2025. And then I rode this whole trend up till around April of this year. And that was, a lot of this was based on the, it broke above a weekly range. It's been within this range since 2013. And one of the reasons for this rally was the interest rate differential between the Australian dollar and the Australian Central Bank and the New Zealand Central Bank. And then we hit that resistance, huge move. Now, it did take profit way too early, but here, what was really allowing me to hold this trade for a very long time and add a little bit risk was the fact that I had the fundamentals fueling this, right? And that was one of my best trades, because I've obviously looked at the higher time frames and like, okay, I think this is going to happen, and I rode this beautiful trend here on the daily, and this just looked very, very good. So it's an easy thing to put into your technical system as well. Just check check if there is a difference in interest rates right now, or if there's any expectations of a shift in government and central bank policies. I think that's everyone should kind of understand, because it's not very complicated, But I think it gets complicated when you take it one step further and you look at what you looked at. You looked at the bar chart there, barchart.com, and then you looked at, I believe it was the commitment of traders, long and short, the difference between the long and the shorts. Yeah. And you talked about how was it commercials having major short positions, and how
the large speculators, so that's like insurance and not whatnot.
And the idea here is that if a huge number, like if shorts are at historic highs, that's going to be a contrarian signal, right? Because eventually it's going to be unwinding, and they kind of have to close the shorts, and it's going to be almost like a short squeeze,
Yeah.
So that's kind of like where you take it to the next level. You add one extra layer on top of that. What I find though is that you're not going to find a lot of trades out there. That's the thing. If you're a purely technical trader, you can find hundreds of trades every day. But if you combine technicals with fundamentals and also maybe sentiment, there's this thing where you have four pillars, which I believe creates that's my end goal in trading and the systems that I'm developing. Every really robust trading systems, I believe, is built upon four different pillars, which is, first you have technical analysis, and then you have macro analysis, fundamental analysis, obviously same thing, and then sentiment analysis and quantitative analysis. Those four things combined, I believe, creates you're able to get all the information that you need to be able to take the best possible decision based on the information you have. Because if you're only looking at technicals, you don't really understand what's driving the move. But if you look then at the macro conditions and the fundamentals, you can see what is actually driving the move. And then you have sentiment, and sentiment is interesting, because if you have everyone's super bullish and everyone has been bullish for a long time, then and there's just no more buyers left, and well, there's only one way price can go, right? And that's down. Because if there's no more buyers, you only have sellers left. And then the quantitative part is looking at a huge number of data points, saying that, okay, what happened last time there was an interest rate differential between these two pairs in a mid-election year or something like that. But that's it's complicated coming up with all of these different pillars, because you kind of have to master all of them in a sense. Maybe not master them, but you have to be pretty good at all of them to make anything out of it.
No, yeah, 100%. That's why I kind of I don't go down the quantitative route, but I definitely try and check. I was always kind of taught, find the why first. So find why you want to be in that market first before you go and check the trade. So I always follow.
And is the why fundamental? Like, is that macro? The why?
It can be anything. It can be macro. It can be sentiment driven. It can be technical as well. But it's always kind of like trying to find a reason behind something. Technical probably is the last thing that I would look at when it comes to the trade idea, just because for me and the way I trade, I like to have that fundamental backing. It could be geopolitically driven, right? It doesn't have to necessarily be macro. Sometimes the macro is there and it's good and the market is traded on the macro. Sometimes it's not there at all. So it's just trying to find kind of like what impacts what. It's almost like, when the first sort of EV stuff came out and it was like, oh, people are going to be looking to, buy Tesla or things like that. It's kind of like, okay, well, what infrastructure does this EV thing need? They're going to need batteries. Okay, what batteries are made out of? Lithium. So it's like trying to find pieces of the puzzle that I like. That's the work that I like to do. I like to go, okay, well, why are traders pricing in the idea that there's going to be rate hikes, for instance, in the US? Why are they pricing that? Does the data support that? Does it not support it? If it doesn't, what can it mean for the currency? If it does, what does it mean for the currency? And then I like to break it down like that and then look at the conditions after that of a particular market, then deploy my strategy if it's all kind of there and pieced together, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. It's interesting because I do kind of like I do it in reverse. I look at first the technicals because I just feel like it makes more sense, because when you're looking at the macro first, it's just you have a very broad lens. You look at maybe everything and you try to find a story, and then you want price to confirm that story. But what if you flipped it around? You looked at everything and you waited for price to tell you that something's happening. And then, because imagine you have 100 markets. You have 100 markets, and when you start with fundamentals, you have to go through all these 100 markets and look for a story. But if you're starting with technicals, you only really have to look at, you go through price and you say, okay, well, here's something happening. But what you're saying is maybe you're trying to find the story before price is moving.
Say find the story. I think, so like, for instance, it can be really simple. It can be like looking at the community trader reports, right? Something they do on a weekly basis. If I see that there is like an extreme positioning, then I'm like, okay, that means that move that is currently happening. So usually there's an extreme after a long upward trend or downward trend. So for example, dollar CAD, there was that real strong upward trend that came in the market between sort of May through all the way to the end of June. A really strong bullish catalyst. But it was almost like, well, has that got much room to go? And when you looked at the community trade report, there was a really strong sell, the selling of Canadian dollars, right? So very strong. But that can be kind of just like the start of it then. And it's like, okay, well, there is that, but what are the conditions that is creating this thing that is happening? Price is just a reflection of all of that. So what I quite like about both of our ways of thinking is it all comes down to price anyway, but it's just kind of like how you interpret what price is. It can differ. So, for me, it's just kind of like, well, it's more about, is that trend that is happening right now going to continue? And if it's not, then what are the catalysts that are driving that and what needs to support it? And then it's more about, okay, well, if that narrative is changing, so very much like the dollar story, I've been very, I guess, opinionated on the idea that the Fed aren't going to be able to hike rates. But now the kind of macro is backing up that narrative. And it's almost like saying to myself, okay, well, what stage am I in on that narrative? So if I'm already looking at a chart that's been in a bullish trend for ages, I'm probably late to that narrative. If the chart hasn't even created the reversal yet, I'm kind of like, oh, I'm super early. So I need to wait for some kind of technical setup here because I might be onto something or what. But yeah, it doesn't always have to start with me going to find necessarily the stories. I just try and keep up to date with the three main macro drivers, which is growth, inflation, and employment. And then if I see one starting to really falter, it's like, oh, okay, well, what does that mean for an interest rate expectations going forward? And then it's looking at what the central banks are trying to achieve, what they're trying to do. Can they achieve it or not?
All right. So I'm going to get back to those three things because I think you said something very important here because you kind of put everything into these three different things, which is growth, inflation, and employment. But before that, I think we have Anastasiia here.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
What's up? Hey, welcome.
I was there for a while, but I didn't want to interrupt such, you know.
This is great. No, we're definitely gonna go back to that because I'm thinking if we have a framework, it's kind of like what I'm missing. You know, I'm missing that. I'm missing that framework when it comes to fundamentals, and I'm always thinking about when it comes to all my types of analysis and in my trading. I'm trying to systemize everything. Yeah. I try to make everything, create a framework, and then try to make everything semi-automated, right? And growth, inflation, and employment, that's numbers and statistics and data that should be all available somewhere. And if you're able to track it and you're able to check it, you can find trends. And then I think what's interesting there is to maybe not just find trends, but find when a new trend is starting or when something is changing. So that's definitely...
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with finding trends. I kept saying to Ayush when I first joined, my job is to find trends, not to necessarily trade right now. Because my strategy is best performing in trending environments. So my 70% or 9% of my job is to find trends. The 10% of me is to execute on those trends. Do I do the 10% as the best of my ability? Yeah, but sometimes I miss it. You know, I've been talking about this dollar CAD reversal for ages. Do you think I've caught a single trade on it? No, but that's because price hasn't been coming to the areas where I wanted to see it come into for my personal setups.
But I mean the dollar yen trade. Everyone's looking for the short, like everyone's looking for that to break down. It's a weird scenario because not only is everyone looking for that to break down, the US government and the Japanese government is also trying to create an environment where it's going to break down.
Well, I think the US are worried that the Japanese yen are going to hike rates too quickly, and a cheap yen obviously kind of supports that situation. So they're trying to necessarily, I don't say stop it, but they don't want it to be as aggressive. But you say that, and the market was moving higher and higher and higher. Literally, I was shorting every end of day candle just to see when it would trigger and go off. And even when it did, I didn't get as much as I wanted out of it, right? But what the intervention was coming, but it's almost like how do you prepare that? And to me, it was like, well, I might as well just set up an end of day short every single day below a candle below, just to see when that catalyst comes. And I'm short now because we had some Japanese data recently, and it's like, well, there are very strong comments coming from Bank of Japan that they are going to hike rates a bit more aggressively. So I do feel like dollar yen has some legs to move, but and I do ask myself the question: do I really want to be buying dollar yen? I can't really find too much of a story that makes me want to buy it. So I did sell it again. I am offside, and if that trade stops me out, it stops me out. So be it. Like I'm not gonna. But I do feel like we're in a similar situation again where there could be another drop, but it's just when.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, I mean, there's going to be another drop, but it's gonna be happening very quickly. I think you'd have to be a little bit lucky to be in the trade when the drop happens, because I think it's going to be quick. If it's going to be a massive drop, I mean, if it's going to be a proper carry trade unwinding type of drop, then we're going to have, weeks to trade that.
Yeah.
So I don't think we have to rush into that one, but it's I've kind of left, the whole idea of shorting USD yen. I've been stopped out so many times on that one. I've I've paid swaps for weeks just to get stopped out. So I'm like, nah, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
Looking at gold, though, I think we have an interesting situation with gold. We talked about this last week. We looked at gold as being at kind of like an important level here, because if we get a break to the upside, if we reclaim the 200 simple moving average sitting at around 4,500, I would be adding gold back to my my long-term holdings. I kind of like the idea of this being a long-term bottom. It's absolutely possible. I think we need to see I think there's a possibility of seeing a mean reverting move back down to like 4.2, or maybe it's a breakout. We never know. Like sometimes it's just it trades like Bitcoin on a breakout. I mean, so but I do feel like looking at the 4 hour, I actually went short on gold here. Obviously got stopped out, but I like the idea of having this uptrend, and then I think also we had some bearish divergence on the RSI, kind of all the way from that top. We started seeing that RSI telling us that momentum is definitely weakening, and then we had that drop to the downside. So I thought we were going to see something like this, right? Like a classical head and shoulders type of pattern up here. Obviously that didn't happen, but still we can still have. Now I'm not saying I'm not necessarily trading, like I'm not looking for head and shoulders pattern out there, but I think the head and shoulders pattern is just a great way of, let's assume that that's the left shoulder, just to visually show you what I'm watching here. So something like this is what I'm thinking, and we might actually still be creating that right shoulder on gold. And if we add some fibs here, we're right on, like we hit that 0.618. I quite like this still for a short on gold. I think there's a decent risk to reward down to like maybe even all the way down to 4.2. What are you guys thinking on gold? Are you guys long, or are you looking for shorts?
Looking for longs.
I wouldn't know what Anastasiia thinks because she hasn't said a word.
I was just listening to you. I'm actually, gold for me is like an indecision. I have been looking for it in the morning, and it's still in the zone that, like, if it's breaking, then I'm gonna make it and take a trade, because it was here when I was looking at first in the morning, and then essentially like in the long higher time frame, I'm looking for this head and shoulders pattern. So if we look at the 4 hour perspective, we kind of reached this massive area of the volume that I was looking at last week already. So we reached 45.10. One of the streams I was saying, okay, if it reaches 45.10, I'm gonna expect the reversal, which it did, like tick-to-tick reversal actually last week. I kind of didn't take the short from here. I took the short continuation afterwards when we broke already below the volume. So I didn't place a limit order I should have. So I'm looking for either the head and shoulders continuation now, if we are looking at the 4 hour perspective, because we are also now finally below the current week and current monthly point of control. At the same time, to take a safer trade, I'd be waiting for the price to break the key level at 44.22.5, which is my point of the point of the previous swing low. within this move to the upside. So if we break this, I'm gonna look also with a small head and shoulders pattern for the 30-minute time frame, and then from here I'm gonna short towards the previous lows, so 43.65, and then the next one 4300. So those are two my targets if I do short after the break of this low. So if we do still go up, I'm gonna only consider it long after we break 4480s. So after we break the zone of this consolidation and the value area, and then from 4480s, I'm gonna look for 4510 again. If we can hold above 4510, then I'm gonna look for 4560s and higher towards the next volume areas, which are already all the way here around 4680s to 4750s. So this is accumulation zone. But right now, since the morning, we are kind of like in the indecision point for me, because the price also, especially in the morning, it was on the current weekly and monthly point of control. And while the price is in the volume, I usually don't trade. So I want to see the price going outside of the volume, because I trade from volume to volume. So while it was hovering there, I consider it a volume accumulation area, like indecision area. So I wasn't really taking this trade. However, I am in 6B and 6E long, so for pound and for EUR. GBP USD, also EUR USD, I'm in longs right now. So I'm looking for this move. So I've been like here since London as well. So I've been holding this since London. So hope now it's finally going into the profit. For me, for the pound, I'm looking for this move higher from this accumulation, because we just tested the weekly point of control. We broke the previous highs, and the price is above the previous weekly value area. So we are bullish for the week in general. And the level I'm looking for the price to reach is, let me just try to scroll all the way back here. This accumulation, the point of control of the months, and essentially the highs of this range on the higher time frame. So this is GU, and for EU, I'm also long. It did kick me out and break even on this account. I'm still holding it on other accounts of mine, and I am also long because this is the point of control of today, well, weekly, but also today, because we're just getting started as a week. It just got opened. I did have a key zone kind of at 16,175. So in the morning, I was on a really good profit because I entered here. Then it came back. It kicked me out on break even because I was expecting the price to hold above the zone. So now I'm expecting it to break this and go all the way to 1650s. This is futures quotes. This should be quite a good move also on EU and GU that I'm expecting. So let's see. And that's also why I'm not taking longs on short on gold yet, because if it's gonna come down to the US dollar, then if I'm gonna be long for pound and for euro, I should be kind of long for gold as well, which it's not yet in my position for longs, quite far from it. So yeah, that's my opinion.
So I actually just opened a short here on gold on MetaTrader. So as you guys know, we are about to offer MetaTrader for our accounts here at Tradeify Crypto. So as you can see, we also have the position size calculator right here that I definitely recommend to use. Hopefully it's going to be coming with the MetaTrader 5 installation. Let me see if, so we need to do some extra work on this because the take profit 2 did not work, but you can see that it's the same setup as I looked at on TradingView. Let me raise that stop loss a little bit. Now this is PAX G, and I looked at a CFD on gold on TradingView, so the prices can be slightly different. So this is the trade, basically looking to get that mean reverting moon. I completely agree with you, Anastasiia, there. I think I'm kind of looking at the same here with and PAX G looks ugly here.
Yeah, on the weekend.
Yeah, this is the weekend, yeah. It takes some getting used to, because these bars are stupid. All right, let's see. What do we have? What do we have in terms of news today? Do we have anything interesting happening?
No,
Not really. We
today.
have tomorrow house and data, and we have the FOMC minutes coming on Wednesday.
Right, that's right. That's gonna. So that's the. So how important is the FOMC minutes?
John?
Questionable now, I think.
Yeah,
Just
that's
because
right,
there's no forward guidance anymore. So there's like a few things that you can probably look for. It's how hawkish were the dissenters and how close were they to maybe coming back off of that and being less hawkish. Was there anybody that is looking to be more hawkish than that wasn't previously? That's the kind of things you look for in the FOMC meeting minutes. But how I feel like this one could be either be really interesting or a dud, pretty much, because the market is so looking at, you know, things that impact inflation more than just what Fed speakers are looking at right now, because they've been very open with the fact that they're not giving any forward guidance anymore. So that makes it difficult to read what the Fed is thinking. So yeah, I think the FOMC meeting minutes will be, personally, I don't think they'll do much unless there's some real big, like, you know, reasoning to why these people voted the way they did. I think if we see actually some of the dissenters that have happened recently, I think there was 3 last time. I think if they showed that they were leaning more towards not hiking rates now, I think that would say a lot about where the Fed is likely positioned. I think that would again support that US dollar weakness that we've seen recently, and we'll probably see, you know, yields fall off that gold higher, things like that. So that kind of support that. If there's nothing at all that's changed, then yeah, I don't think the narrative shifts anywhere, to be honest. FOMC meeting minutes have always been kind of funny ones. You know, people put a lot of weight to them, but they tend not to do much anyway. So yeah, I'm more focused on kind of what's going on geopolitically right now. So we've just had some reports coming out recently saying that the IRGC are basically saying that all this commentary by Trump is false. Like, they're not actually in any kind of talks with them to do anything or to come up with a deal or anything like that. So again, there's this like...
Was this what caused volatility earlier today? Like a spike on indices and then
it says 1253, but it was 153 that came out.
So it's actually very interesting. I love this comment. So an IRGC spokesman says Trump's claim of a back channel talks with the IRGC is a delusion stemming from defeat.
Yeah.
So we don't really know what's true, but yeah, there was some news coming out about. So first, what Trump did, he came out and said that, basically saying we're gonna bomb Oman if they get in the way of negotiations, which is kind of weird. Let's be honest, it's weird because Oman is trying to be like a mediator between the two. Oman has good contacts with Iran, also good contacts with the US, and Trump just goes out and says, hey, we're gonna bomb you. It's like you know, it's like he has no rules whatsoever when it comes to kind of like rules of engagement when it comes to diplomacy or whatever. Like, it's just, he's just all over the place. It's just, you never know, which I think also when that comment came out, I looked at the live feed, nothing happened. Like, literally nothing happened. Nobody cares anymore. It's like Trump speaking, nobody cares because then because Iran comes out and says, "Oh, nothing's true. It is all bullshit," which is probably the truth, if I'm going to be honest.
I think-
So, but
Sorry, carry on.
Void says he's a PR nightmare. Yeah, I wouldn't be be managing the US White House PR agency at this point in time. It's but I think one thing we can kind of, it's not for certain. Nothing is for certain, obviously, in the markets when in investing. But I think one thing we can kind of expect or say with some type of certainty is that the situation in Iran is likely not going to end tomorrow or next week or next month.
Yeah.
So the volatility is going to stay. Oil prices is probably going to stay somewhat elevated. There's probably going to be some attacks on ships in the Hormuz, probably in the Red Sea as well. I mean, there is some talks in some circles about one military tactical decisions that the US could be taking without going directly into Iran would be looking at the Houthis around the Red Sea, because they are, basically a proxy for Iran, and that would escalate. But I think what they're doing right now is there's only really three things the US can do, I believe, and I'm not an expert at this as well, but they can invade, right? They're not going to invade. They can run away, but they're not going to run away. They can siege, and that's what they're doing. And I think that's what they're going to keep doing for quite some time. They're going to try to, I believe, starve out Iran. They're going to probably, both from an economic point of view and also probably some strategic hits on, water infrastructure, electricity infrastructure, things like that, which unfortunately I believe is going to be affecting the civil population quite a lot in Iran. So it's a very tricky situation, but they're probably going to siege, and that takes a long time. That takes a long time because Iran is like 90 million people, and it's not a small country, right? It has resources, and so it can take quite some time, which is looking at the stock market. It's kind of like the stock market has already priced this in. Like, we know it might take a long time, and it has already priced in the possibility of this taking a long time. And so oil prices probably stays elevated, which is will most likely not slow down the risk on run that we have right now. So I'm wondering what's actually, what needs to break for this to be an issue, because it seems like it's not really an issue right now. It's I don't get it.
Yeah, I think the market's probably a bit more interested in tariffs than it is the Iran war now, which is crazy to think about.
We're back to tariffs now. That's okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
It's like,
So
I think with the macroeconomy, with the Trump, is like, what does the attention turn towards at the moment? Is it inflation and the rates? Is it tariffs? Or is it the war? One of many he's starting. So,
what's the news on tariff? Like, I mean, I have seen that he's kind of like throwing around these tariffs again, but like, what's the news on that?
I mean, he was threatening, I think, Canada, was it, with 50% tariffs? So I think that's...
Hasn't he done that like in forever?
Yes. But I think what it is like some of those tariffs that he's placed with certain deadlines are coming to an end. So once the market tends to react a bit funky around those deadline days because they don't know whether he's going to follow through with his tariffs or not. And 9 times out of 10, he doesn't, right? And some deal has come out and everything's all glorious and stock market pumps and everything's fantastic, right? But there's still that kind of risk of kind of like what if he does. I mean, I know he had that bill passed and they basically said he had to repay all the tariff situation. I can't remember what it was, contributions or whatever, because if the court ruled that he can't actually apply the tariffs to most things that he's done, so he had to give back stuff. Don't know how that situation played out in the end. I've not heard much about that one since, but he's probably buried his head in that one.
Can we just for a minute talk about that octopus glass?
I've not been searching for octopus glasses, so I don't know why that's going to present advertising.
That looks pretty good.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, I do like that. It looks pretty good.
Be a nice whiskey glass, right?
Yeah, maybe it is. Nice.
Do you want me to follow the link and send you the link?
Yeah, can you? Yeah, send me the link. Let me click that.
When's your birthday?
My birthday is today.
Oh.
Every day for this matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a couple of times a year at least. Oh, look at that. It's a nice little glass. Oh, it's like $28.
You actually researched it.
Yeah. Let's Google quickly. Octopus glass. You can see right here.
Guys, what happens when you get trading profits? You can do stuff like this. You can just buy octopus glasses and stuff, you know?
It's like a pros of being an adult, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I got a massive headache. I gotta take a break. I think it's a Temu one. Shit quality probably. You'll probably die if you drink from it, but it looks good though. Does look good.
I mean, technically 99% of the stuff you're using is made in China anyway. It depends, like, you know, which part of China and which...
Except Koenigsegg, which is made in Sweden, and they released a new car. They just announced a new car, and they did it. That video, they announced it. That was such a good announcement video. If you haven't seen it, go look up the announcement video for Koenigsegg. What is it? CCGT1? Amazing video. Yeah. On that bombshell, I gotta take a break. I gotta get some painkillers or something. Water, maybe get myself an octopus glass, drink some water.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I feel better soon.
See you guys later.
Bye.
Yeah. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Let's go. Right. Anna, what's going on? Did you have a successful end of your week last week, or did you give it back like Ayush?
No, she
No,
was
I
done
had
on
a
the
good
live
week.
stream. Yeah.
Oh, I had a good week. Honestly, like the end of the week was quite difficult because, you know what, I'm not gonna trade anymore on Friday. I'm done. Not even in the morning, because you know how it goes. Is like I shouldn't be trading in the second half of Friday, statistically saying. But then you have trades that run over from the morning, and then you are like, okay, and I'm gonna keep holding them, and then this morning trade becomes like an afternoon trade, and it's just making it much more difficult, especially if I have a very good week. I should really just take Friday off. So you know what? This Friday I have so much plans that I will absolutely have zero chance of even looking at the charts. So I just made myself super busy on Friday.
Yeah. I
To
like that.
escape the possibility of even having a look at the charts.
Yeah, because then even if it's a bad week,
Nice
it
trick.
technically finishes good, right? And if it's a good week, it's
actually,
better,
yeah,
right?
I haven't thought about this from this perspective, but also good, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. So kind of no matter what, it's still gonna be fine.
Yeah, it's still going to be a good end to the week either way.
Yeah. But it wasn't like a super easy week. It was a good one, finally. It wasn't a super easy week last week for me. So let's see how this one goes, because realistically we had 2 weeks ago we had non-farm week. Last week we have CPI and PPI week. This week is barely anything. unless
Yeah.
Trump tweets something, of course, and we get new info, about the tariffs or something, whatever it is. Like, it should be more calm, but then the question is it going to be better? Is it going to be the consolidated week with like zero volatility and nothing? Because it's also the middle of August at the same time,
Yes.
So it can be both. It can be both. But I ordered myself a new laptop and I got myself my new phone, which is laying for already 2 days in the package, which I didn't unpack yet. But I'm still waiting for the laptop, so I'm quite excited.
You've got to be
Super
the only person I know that gets a new phone and doesn't open it.
Yeah, last time
That's-
I got the new laptop, it was laying and waiting. Oh no, the new phone, it was laying for 7 or 10 days actually.
What? Who does that? Who does that? I am a gadget man, so like if I've got something on the way, like I've ordered a new drawer from my fridge and I'm excited to get that.
Guys, I have to jump off. Sorry to interrupt. Not
You
feeling
good?
good. See you tomorrow.
No worries.
Okay, no
Take
worries.
care
Get
of
better
yourself.
soon, mate.
Get
Bye,
well,
bye,
get
bye.
well.
Bye,
Get well
bye.
fast. Yeah, I don't know what it is, to be honest. Like I've thought about this. I don't know. It's not that I'm not excited. I'm like really excited to buy it. As a woman, I'm probably really excited to spend money. And I'm like, okay, I got it. Now I'm calm and I'm like, whatever.
What's the next thing?
What's the next thing we are getting?
Yeah. You should
Like,
just start
oh,
raffling off these items that you're buying.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, so I'm still like with an old one today, but the other one is like waiting and laying for me anyway. And my laptop, I'm super excited for laptop because it was this one is not handling everything I need, especially for trading. So
Needs
yeah,
a bit more firepower.
a little bit more. Yeah, the guys in the store told me that I can launch half of NASA server on that one that I ordered, so I'm quite excited.
Oh, is that something you're interested in doing?
No, actually, I wasn't until they told it.
Yeah. You can do this on it. Okay, yeah, sure. I'll go find out how to do that. Yeah, nice. That sounds pretty cool, though. Is that a Windows laptop then?
No, it's MacBook. It's
Oh, is it
MacBook,
Mac?
but
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's MacBook, but it's like customized MacBook with whatever. I can tell you the specifications next time because I'm literally zero in tech. So I
Yeah.
just ordered something powerful, and I think they never got an order for this in the store.
Yeah.
They're like, this is. I'm like, I have no clue, honestly.
Yeah.
Zero clue. Anyway.
No, I'm a little bit like that, to be fair. I only know a little bit about the tech side. I've got my brother-in-law is very into tech. He's the one that built me my computer, to be fair. So I just go when something goes wrong, I just like, help. Can you just do this for me, please? So he usually comes through and sorts it out for me. But yeah, that's funny though. You should get that set. You should get that set up. Then when is that? You've got it now, or are you waiting for the laptop?
Laptop, I'm still waiting for. So it's gonna be 6 to 10 working days from today because it was on Saturday that I went. So next week, I'm super excited. My ADAS is gonna finally stop, hanging on me because every single time. Yeah, every
technically
single time
no
I
tech
stream
issues
is like
next week from Anna.
exactly.
No tech issues.
Oof.
Love it. What's your thoughts on gold then? I quite like the idea of being short in the near term. Long term, I like the bullishness of it, but short term, I feel like we could see a little bit of a downward move. But I'll let you decide on that one. You're a bit more of an intraday trader than I am.
Yeah. So what I was saying to Jonathan is, in general, last week I was looking for this move to the downside already from the left shoulder. So I was looking for this head and shoulders pattern after we tested 45.10, which was my key level. And right now, since we went higher and the price couldn't, last week we couldn't close above the volume. I was still looking for short. This week, when the market reopened, I haven't traded because I don't trade on Asian session on Monday anymore. So the price went above the volume. In the morning I was looking at it was above the volume. Now we are coming below it. So for riskier, like the only setup right now that I'm looking at is short at this position of the price. Only if we break above this volume accumulation area, so this range, I would be looking for the longs.
Yeah.
Towards 45.10 again, like towards this highs again. At the moment, since we are below the wall volumes, I'm looking for shorts. Now, taking the short right now for me is possible because it's exited the value area of the day, value area low. So this is basically, if you zoom in slightly, so this is the value area low of the day. The price closed below it. It came back to test it. So technically I can short it already right now, but this would be a high risk ID because we are still pretty much testing this volume from the downside. So I could short it, but like a much more conservative, and the original idea that I had this morning when I was analyzing it is waiting until the price breaks the swing low created before the move to the upside after the overnight layover. So if we break this, it's going to be the head and shoulders inside of the head and shoulders. So I would be looking for short on the retest of whatever 44.30, 44.50 area. So this would be the more conservative and the better idea for me to take. And then I would target the previous low here and the next volume at like the previous ones here. So 4,300 on the futures and 43.65 on the futures quotes. So I'm short biased. It's not yet ready for me.
So do you still then look for like things like absorption at that point around those kind of levels? Or just some
depends.
high
I can look for many things. I can look for absorption, for example, of buyers. That would be a short. I would look for divergence for delta, for example. Or I could wait until the price starts moving down and we have a lot of sell volume incoming, which is not an absorption, but then confirmation of the seller's activity, sellers stepping in, and then the price pushing lower. So I can have like multiple things, to be fair, that would be, would also be good enough. At the same time, I could look, for example, for the stop run above the previous highs here. If you're talking about the volatility, then the wick down, and then also for entering the trade after the stop run. So there is several setups that I could take into consideration. That would be a good enough confirmation for me,
Yeah, nice.
I have a question towards you more about the indices. Have you looked at NASDAQ on S&P today?
I have not, although I know that it's pulling back a little bit. But I've not looked at necessarily to do anything with it. I know last week we looked at the potential for it to break out, and it had the breakout, and then I was thinking maybe I'll wait for the pullback, but then it just didn't do it. But we have gone a little bit sideways since. I don't think these tariff headlines will help any situation here for the move. I still feel like stock markets are weird. You can have the worst news ever and stock markets will still find a way to rally. So I don't like to short them, but I'd be interested in a long if it kind of came back. If we came back into sort of the breakout zone, then I would be looking for a bit more of upside here. I reckon if we did a market profile over this area, it'd be strong levels down towards 29,800, something like that. So yeah, maybe if we got back into this kind of area here, I'd be interested in the longs back up into that kind of 3,800. It looks a little bit easier on a daily chart for that. The VIX is still relatively low, at 15. We've jumped to higher today. If we started to see a continuation down here on the VIX, again, that's usually pretty good for the stock markets. But it looks like at the moment, on the US Open anyway, starting to see some initial sort of move lower first. But yeah, any kind of like breakouts higher, I think stocks go to all-time highs, to be honest, because they'll probably first try and trade on the news, and then they'll go back to looking at the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is potentially that there's going to be no rate hikes anyway. So bigger picture is that we could potentially, see that pricing coming in. So I do like the very similar to gold. Like I like the idea of being a buyer here. It's just kind of like where's a good position to get in for me. I ended up going long on euro dollar last week, which worked out really nicely. That hit full targets, so happy with that one. But yeah, I'd like to see a bit more commitment. I think if we saw, I talk about yields all the time, but if we do see significant drops, especially in the 10-year, the 10-year is really interesting to me because it's just hovering around. It's just very, very range bound. We've got the kind of like short end of the curve falling, which is great, which is exactly what I want to see when I want to be short sort of US dollars, long gold. But 10-year is holding up a lot. So I think I need to be just a little bit more cautious on how I position that move. But yeah, I like the idea of looking for the gold longs. It's just, do I want to be long right here, right at this resistance level? No, I think like you, I want to see either a deeper correction or I want to see a break and retest of some zone. That zone in here, a break and retest would be nice. But ultimately, yeah, I need to see some kind of follow through somewhere. But yeah, I do like Nasdaq longs. I think that makes sense for upside. It's hard. The hard thing about being a swing trader is you got to kind of wait for like deeper levels to be tested first. Intraday you can try and like catch the intraday moves up, and you can probably trade a move multiple times. Whereas I'm kind of trying to catch the move just a couple of times or 2 or 3 times as it goes. So yeah, I need just to wait for a bit of a deeper correction. I think if I want to be buying up into that 30,000 level, I could try and put my stop. So let's say I went long now, I could try and put my stop below current swing lows. But I just think that's in the way. I want to be below this kind of area here. So I want to try and enter as close to that point as possible to try and maximize that reward to risk ratio. So we'll see what happens. I don't think we'll see how the market takes the latest information. Because we're getting a lot of, like you said, there's hardly any data this week, so market's going to really focus on headline news instead. So we're now getting reports from Al Jazeera that a government official has said negotiations are still ongoing with the aim of reopening the Strait of Hormuz and ending the war. So you've got very different opinions going on here, which not great for intraday price action, to be honest. But gold is absolutely flying now.
Yeah.
Making its way higher. Did you take anything there?
No, gold, not yet, no. It's still within the range. That's a whole problem for me. Like, it's been a whole problem for the entire day. It's testing the range right now, and it was kind of below the volume, but that's what I was saying, that it's going to be a risky trade if I would take one. So my original ID wasn't validated. It's still ranging in the zone that I wasn't really planning to take a trade on. So only if it breaks the lows here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's retested some minor zones from sort of Friday's US session. Do you look at session profiles as well, or just?
I look at the daily, weekly, and monthly. And on the smaller time frame, if I look for the entry specifically in trade management, I even look for the hourly profiles sometimes, like 4-hour profiles, depending on the trade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, for example, let's say for Nasdaq, if I would run a trade, again, this is exactly why I'm getting the new laptop, so like almost there. Like I literally cannot open the second chart. It's like taking too long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not gonna probably be able to load this. It's like too much data that it's trying to load. But I would look at the hourly, for example, footprint charts. And for the 5-minute or 1-minute footprint charts, an hourly profile as well. So one of the profiles that I have is like an hourly one, which is normally should be showing up right now, unless it's hidden. It's hidden here. So this is an hourly point of control, you see. But right now we are ranging for this hour because it's a market opening hour. But usually it gives me the good estimation on what's the current priority, who is currently in control of the market, buyers and sellers within an hour. So what's do we have a trend? Do we have the indecision? And should I try to look for buys, for sells, or should I keep holding the trade or consider, for example, cutting the risk as well? Something like this. Well, now there is nothing because it's been quite ranging for the market opening. But yeah. A weird Monday, honestly. Weird Monday. I don't like when Monday is like this because usually the beginning of the week for me is the best. And if the week is...
You find that you're better at trading earlier in the week?
Yeah. So for me, the beginning of the week is the best always. And if the beginning of the week is not good, the chances are, like last week, for example, the beginning of the week was difficult. It was like losing, then consolidated, then this, that, and then I like pulled it into profit. It was a really good profit in the end of the week, but it was a difficult week. So if the beginning of the week is like this, I know that I need to be careful.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I didn't expect this type of move on gold right now, to be honest. But then, what can you expect these days?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. It's flying.
Yeah. I mean, nothing else is necessarily being reported at the moment, and we don't have much in the way of data. We do have a little bit of data coming up in a minute, which is the housing market index, which is coming out, but we haven't really had much as well in the way of key data. So yeah, I just think this is an interesting move. Let's have a quick look around the ground then. Let's see what the dollar's been doing today. Dollar's still fairly bearish, which is good. Like I said, I was long euro, down at a sort of 115.30s, up into the 116s. 116s have been hit. So looking for the next move here to see if we get some kind of breakout to the upside of that 116 handle. Maybe a move up to the 116.50, 116.75s. Kind of the next couple of levels I'm looking at, but dollar is obviously performing a little bit better. Let's have a little look at let's have a little flirt with the crypto market. Let's see what it's doing. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's still relatively flat. 1.2% up today, but price action is just hardly existent at the moment. Very much just trading within this wedge at the moment. Yeah, just very difficult market to really sink our teeth into. Again, unless you're trying to like capture the small moments on a day-to-day, then you might get something out of it. But gone are the days where we're seeing like 10% rises in a day. I think for Bitcoin at the moment, very flat market.
Yeah, Bitcoin for me is exactly the same as it was last week and the week before and the week before. So for 3 weeks, I had exactly the same plan. So I can honestly say I'm continuing to be bullish for Bitcoin for now. And then we'll see.
So are you one of the only bullish
yeah, I'm one of the only bullish.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because what we can see right now is it's still on my zone for longs.
Yeah.
It didn't break it, didn't retest it much. Well, it just tested, like it didn't reject it much neither. So Yeah.
And if it's bullish, where's it going to?
If it's bullish, I'm expecting it to hit 67,850 and then 71 to 73k. And then if you break this one, then 77 to 80k.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically the what I'm expecting.
I think you're probably one of the only people that I've met that is bullish Bitcoin right now, to be honest.
Yeah, probably no one is even talking about this much. So, but just purely technically and from the perspective of volumes, I'm bullish.
Yeah.
But if you do break below this areas, I'm gonna flip bearish as well, you know. So it's just nothing is happening there now. So it's difficult to really take any decision about it. To be fair,
it's what I like actually about trading with sort of volume and stuff. You're very it's very much about what the market is telling you versus what you predicting, right? It's not like, I'm predicting this, and this to happen. It's like, well, let's just put, if it breaks this volume zone, the likelihood is it's going to go seek that volume, or if it breaks this one, it's going to go seek a different volume level or whatever. And that's a good art to have in trading, to be honest, because a lot of people try and predict more where it's going to go, and then when they get disappointed, they don't tend to.
I figured that it was much more difficult for me when I had one ID, for example, and I was okay, the price is going to go that direction.
Yeah.
And then when I started using volume and I understood how the market auction works, I was like, okay, you know what? Let's switch it up to, if market does this, this is my reaction. If market does that, this is what I'm gonna do. In this case, you pretty much getting prepared for almost any outcome. And in the meantime, what you're doing is that you also determine when you are not going to trade. So instead of always trying to find a trade to be in, entry point, you try to catch a move. Instead of essentially reacting to what the market is doing, you plan ahead and you wait for the market to confirm that it's ready for your setup, that your setup is taking a place, and then you take a decision, and then you take a trade. So instead of reacting, instead of reactive, you have a proactive kind of, trading.
Yeah. That makes sense.
It's like you basically get prepared and you act within your plan. You know how they say that if you don't plan, you plan to fail. So this is it. But a lot of traders, instead of actually planning ahead, instead of taking the trade that they expected and planned and waited for, they react towards what the market is doing right now. So the market is moving up for gold. Oh my God, let's buy. It's like it has such a bullish candle. It's probably going to go up. Let's buy it. The market was dropping before. It broke the lows. Okay, let's sell it. Now I know that this is my zone that I do not trade in, because within this zone, based on my experience, the market can do whatever. It can go up, it can go down. I'm not 100% sure. I'm 50-50. And if I'm 50-50, I'm not going to take a trade. I want at least 60-40, 70-30. I want one of the sides to be more probable. It doesn't mean that I'm going to get a 100% probability, but it means that if the certain conditions are met, one of the outcomes is more likely. It's about the likelihood of this happening. And for me right now, for example, gold is a perfect example. For me, right now, the likelihood of it going up and down from the zone is still 50-50, even after this bullish candle. Why? Because we are still trading within the value area of today, which means within the fair value of today, which means for the day, we are neither bearish or bullish. The buyers weren't taking control over the sellers. We are just ranging within this, taking over some highs and lows, in the meantime, kicking some traders out. And that's it. But there is no imbalance on one of the sides. There is no control over one. There is no clear intention from one of the sides yet.
Yeah.
So why would I trade?
Exactly. Very good. Very good. It is 3:05 now, so
Yeah.
we can end the stream here. Yeah, Ayush is not around, so I am not privy to give away stuff. So unfortunately, that's not for me to do. But
But
maybe
did we
we
hit
can
the
do-
like target? Wait, I'm gonna reload the stream.
I think we did. maybe.
The like target was 50, eh? Or
Yeah.
60 was it?
It's 50.
50? Wait, I think we got 50. Yeah, we've got 50 likes. We've got 50 likes, exactly, guys. So you did it the last minutes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do 2 giveaways tomorrow instead of today because Ayush is not around. Our giveaway duck race host is not around. So what we're gonna do is come back tomorrow, make sure that you are here with us. You're gonna have a chance to win 2 accounts and not 1 because we're gonna get 2 giveaways. 1 from today, 1 from tomorrow. So make sure that you are there. Same time, same place. And you're gonna have a chance to win the account with us as well. Jonathan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was fun. Hopefully
good.
the market is gonna be a little bit more clear and give us a little bit more, interesting moves. Because for now it's like sideways flying.
Yeah.
So we
Fingers
wish
crossed.
you guys profitable rest of Monday wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you back tomorrow on our next stream.
See ya.
Thank you, guys. See ya.